Alrighty boys, how are we gonna approach 2020 offseason? Let's sign Huni to an unreasonable deal. Let's get rid of all our young NA players. Let's just build around the young NA players we have and continue to nurture their development. Oh my god, I just got thrown out of the Dignitas meeting room. Wow, I ended up in the future where 2020 LCS split already happened. Hope there's no global pandemics going on. Anyways guys, welcome to my video. It's gonna be about Season 10, Dignitas' Spring Split. It's been rather interesting. So before we talk about what happened in 2020, let's go back to 2019 and how Dignitas finished their season. Hell, back then they weren't even called Dignitas, they were called Clutch Gaming. They weren't the best team at that time. Clutch actually struggled a lot, and in the middle of the season, they got bought out by Dignitas and they actually started to make a lot of good changes. They went on a miracle run to make Worlds, and it seemed like 2020 was going to be a great year for Dignitas. And then they made some of the weirdest off-season moves I've ever seen from a team. They had 3 young NA players that were the core of their roster, Demonte, Cody, and Vulcan. And they actually ended up getting rid of all of them. Demonte wasn't going to be granted a starter spot, so he was allowed to explore opportunities. Funnily enough, he ended up joining Dignitas again as the academy mid laner. Cody got sold to 100 Thieves, and Vulcan got sold to C9. And with all that money, they decided to double down on Huni by paying him $2.3 million over 2 years on a guaranteed contract, with a small asterisk behind it. We'll talk about the guaranteed part of it later because there's new information that came up. But anyways, the offseason stagnated once they had Huni signed. There were reports that Dignitas has spent 1/3 of their budget on Huni alone, and the other roster plans that they had were falling apart. So yeah, things didn't look that great. But once the dust settled, there were a few players that were notable that didn't get picked up on teams, and they still had to figure out, hey, do I take a break for a split and not play for an LCS team entirely and just stream, which is an option that Stinky actually took, or hey, let's just play for Dignitas. It is playing for an LCS team and it's better than nothing. And they got the chance to fill out rest of their roster. So joining Huni would be Froggen, Afro, Grig, and Johnson. So Froggen, while a legendary player in the past, had another disappointing split on Golden Guardians and they failed to make playoffs. And Afro, another legendary player, was in a pretty similar situation with 100 Thieves. They had their championship roster with Bang, Afro, and Hoohee. And yeah, we don't have to talk about how that went. They didn't end up making playoffs also. As for Grig, he was going to be the starter for TSM and he had a wrist injury and then ended up getting benched and then ended up sharing time with Acadian and then ended up getting replaced by an academy jungler named Spica. So he was basically the 3rd best jungler on TSM. As for Johnson, he was pretty much an unknown rookie coming from TSM Junior. There were so many questions regarding this roster. How is Huni, Froggen, Afro all going to play together? These are players with extremely big voices that have a very specific way that they want to be playing, so it's not going to be easy to mesh them all together in the same team and have them all find success. Also Johnson. Generally, rookies in LCS don't turn out that well. NA as a whole doesn't have the best amateur or academy program, so yeah, usually the players coming from those programs aren't very ready to be a starter in LCS and really succeed. But my oh my, everyone was wrong about their expectations on Dignitas and they found a lot of success in the start of the split. They were 3-1 in the first 2 weeks, and Froggen got to really shine on his classic control mages like Ori and Victor, and Johnson was a really pleasant surprise, and he was actually one of the best AD carries at the start of the split. He was really practiced on all these new AD carries that were popping up in 2020 like Aphelios and Senna, and he paired really well with Afro, someone very used to kind of bringing up young AD carries and having them really come onto their own.
Team Liquid rotating down to the bottom side. They know they've got another wave right there. They'll walk this one in. It's 2 waves. Inhib now the target. The Realm Warp used wonderfully for that. Jensen making full use of the Rise kit here. Aframu finds a hook, but it's only onto Core JJ. Great going in, he's able to find the Cataclysm onto 3. Damage going through, Jensen shut down. Oh my goodness gracious! It's a double kill for Johnson. It's a team fight for Dig. Double Lift's looking to make some kind of a fight, but Grig will keep him busy. Stasis coming out, and D-Lift is the one-man standing.
As the season went on, things started to get bad for Dignitas. Huni wasn't a top-tier player like he was in 2019. He started to be one of the bigger reasons why Dignitas were losing games. He would do things like picking Pantheon into set or running back Lucian top lane. It just wasn't a great look. Also, for Grig, he He was one of the worst junglers once again in LCS. He didn't really know where he needed to be on the map. It looked like he was playing nervous. He was constantly getting caught out. Surprisingly though, Johnson, the rookie player we mentioned earlier, was one of the best performing members along with Froggen, but that alone isn't enough for the team. They actually ended up slowing down to a 5-7 score by week 6. But the season wasn't over, and Dignitas still had a lot of pieces that they could work with to turn their season around, and that's exactly what they did. They made adjustments and had Froggen going back onto more of the champions that he was comfortable with, so playing stuff like Orianna, Victor, and they also brought in Acadian from Academy to replace Skrig. And Acadian was the breath of fresh air that the team needed. He was proactive, he knew when to be aggressive, he knew how to play around lanes a lot better. He was just a much more confident player, and it really showed in Dignitas' gameplay. They seemed cohesive as a team, and their game plan looked like it changed. Now, due to the team picking up a few wins, and also the fortunate circumstance of how the other games played out, they were actually in a tiebreaker versus Golden Guardians, and if they win that tiebreaker, they would be in playoffs. Spring season would be saved. But some things never changed, and Dignitas actually ended up throwing the game versus Golden Guardians at Baron.
Dig trying to reinitiate onto Baron.
And the smite's not in range. It's Hanser and Golden Glue, 2 versus 3 against the world. TP comes in. The entire squad is here, but they can't do it, I don't think. Hanser gonna go for the duck, gonna try to find the solo onto Johnson. Can't find that, but the Battle Star! That is there! Afro doesn't have a way out. Golden Guardians, is this the fight that seals you into playoffs? They're still down in kills, they're still down in gold, but it's a 5v through the Mountain Soul shield on. Acadian, can you pull the miracle? Hanser walks across the map trying to find him. Can they snipe him away? They need to not let this smite happen. Hooni's up in the front. There's Hanser trying to find it. The rest of the team going forward. Closer joins in as well, but they're right on top of Victor. Death Cap is still not in, but he finds some damage. Hooni, he will drop it to 1 for 0. Look how low the health bars are though. Golden Guardians, they have let the Baron reset. They went for the dive. It's 20 seconds of 5v2. Acadian is low. He's gonna sleep. He's gonna maybe lose the GA to Paddle Star or the Krugs, but he has the shield up. He stays alive. Golden Glue tries yet again. Jumps in, gets the Guardian Angel down. There is no chance of a smite steal. Hanser's here as well. He'll be drowsy. No jungler left alive. Froggen versus the world. Baron will be picked up, and Golden Guardians have finally cemented a lead.
Now, that should be the end of their spring season, right? There's no way things could get worse. But that's not all, folks. Check this tweet. So, Dignitas announced that Huni can explore other opportunities for Summer Split. It's basically the esport version of I think we should see other people. This is where things get a little bit murky. So initially, Huni's deal was reported as guaranteed by Jacob Wolf of ESPN, but Dignitas CEO came out and denied this in my tweet when I started to talk about it. Why this is such a big deal is guaranteed contracts are extremely player favored. In LCS, most contracts are non-guaranteed, meaning that the team can part ways with the player at any point and not pay the remaining salary that's left. But in a guaranteed contract, the player will get his money almost no matter what, barring extreme circumstance. Like the player maybe like killing someone and like going to jail or something, you need to pay the player. That's why the contract is called guaranteed. So Jacob Wolf is rarely wrong with his reports, and the details here are very, very important. If Hooni's contract is guaranteed, he will be paid that 2.3 million over 2 years, regardless of his underperformance, and it's going to be very hard for Dignitas to find another team interested in taking on that contract. If it's not, they can just let Hooni go or restructure the deal with him where it's a lot more reasonable. So yeah, I'm very interested to see how this plays out. Jacob Wolf is rarely wrong. The CEO came out very, very strongly to deny this. It is a little strange that they denied this right now when it was reported all the way back in November. So yeah, let's see how it plays out. Overall, this was a rather backward split for Dignitas. They had a great 2019 and a young core of NA players that they could build around. The two they sold, Cody and Vulcan, to 100 Thieves and C9 respectively, are continuing to show that they are top tier players in the league. And as for Dignitas, they ended up with a team that's not very cohesive, nor is it very future proof. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm still going to be doing a lot of local recaps, but I also want to take my content somewhere else. I actually enjoy doing a lot of these story pieces, so you're going to be seeing a lot more of that. You're going to be seeing a lot more of the gameplay. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. And one last thing, I'm not crazy, I'm just Loco. Bye.
Yeah. Yeah, let's go. I ain't the first with the curse, with the thirst that I wanna be better, not worse, man it hurts. I'm on this earth with my words and I put them all together, insert, cause I wanna have worth. Working hella hard till they put me in the dirt. Gonna go far, man, listen to my words.